Hey guys, it's me, Chef, and we are back for a new season of FBL. This is season 12, and last time we did this league, we did really well for ourselves. We were in the middle division, Beast, and we went 8-1 plus 20-something differential, and we made finals. We did lose finals to a very unfortunate crit on a misplay, but that's okay. It was a very fun season, and I really liked my team as well, which was really nice. Now, going into this season, I'm sure you were like, okay, he did pretty well. Surely he's gonna draft a good team and do well again, and it's gonna be great. Yeah, about that. So the little demons that live in my brain were telling me before the draft that I really wanted to try Kommo-o. I know this shit sucks. It's really bad. It's a pretty slow win condition Pokemon that struggles to like do immediate damage, so it's not even like it can force Pokemon out to let it set up for free. So that's not ideal. As well, its signature move, Clangorous Soul, which gives the Omni Boost, is kind of like counterproductive on a Pokemon like this that's so bulky, because it takes away 33% of its HP while trying to set up, which is like kind of shit. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think Clangorous Soul is like not the best set on this Pokemon. I think its other setup moves, because it lets it keep its HP, might be a little better, but we could just be wrong about that. It does get a shit ton of setup moves. It gets Bulk Up, which is nice on a Pokemon that's this bulky, and they get Stab, Drain Punch. It can keep itself healthy, can set up pretty easily. We get Dragon Dance, Iron Defense with Stab Body Press on a Pokemon with like 125 base defense, which is really nice. It's a really strong move, as well as it doesn't force us to be physical. Since Kommo-o is a mixed attacker, we can do like special body press sets. I think that's pretty raw. We get Swords Dance as well. Swords Dance Scale Shot is always going to be nice on a Pokemon like this. Swords Dance, since it's a bulkier, slower attacker, will actually have some uses to just give it immediate damage output. Now, this Pokemon is obviously quite weak to Encore, as it's slow and doesn't want to be locked into a setup move necessarily, but it does have sets to get around that still can let it boost up. Of course, it gets like Terra Normal, Boom Burst with Throat Spray, with access to like Vacuum Wave and a shit ton of special coverage. It gets like Flamethrower, Flash Cannon. It has a great special Dragon type move with Clangorous Soul and Draco. Clanging Scales, sorry. Clanging Scales is like a little bit weaker but more accurate and lowers your defense, while Draco Meteor lowers your special attack. So it kind of depends on if we need to just kill one thing and then piece the fuck out, or if we need to like kill multiple things. And of course, Stab Boom Burst is always going to be good, even though I do think the physical like DD and SD sets might be a little bit better on it. It's a really weird Pokemon. It's a bulky win condition, not too dissimilar from Zarude in that regard, but it's slow as balls and then doesn't have reliable recovery, so it fucking sucks. It's just bad Zarude. That's kind of how I choose to think about this Pokemon. But I think he's fun, and going into the draft, I wanted to have a fun team, and this just seemed like the Pokemon that would allow me to have the most amount of fun at the time. So I built the entire team around facilitating this Pokemon's success. That's kind of how I think, if you're going to draft a shitty mid-tier Terra Captain, like I did with Terrakion, right, in NCP, which, by the way, sorry I didn't upload that, didn't feel like it, got busy. I made semifinals and then got fucking wheelchaired. Go figure. But anyways, I wanted to draft around a mid-tier Terra Captain because this guy just seems super fun. So Kommo-o really needs a fast partner to help it get kills and revenge things, right? So I picked Greninja. A, it was the fastest Pokemon left, and B, I think it's actually a pretty good partner for Kommo-o. Obviously, we could have gone Terra on this Pokemon, and that would have made it a huge endgame threat that doesn't need to rely on Terra every game. But we got into the draft, and there was another Pokemon that wanted the Terra more than Greninja on this team. But I mean, everyone knows what Greninja does. It does fucking everything, right? Protean's broken. Battle Bond gives it in-game potential. Pump, Dark Pulse, all that good stuff. Two, amazing stab options. It's a really great user of Choice Scarf with like Switcheroo and that's Swords Dance, lol. With like Switcheroo and U-Turn, giving it access to a really nice Choice Scarf set. You can fuck up, what do you call them? Setup threats with Switcheroo or bulkier Pokemon Switcheroo. You can U-turn around and then you can just throw off your strong-ass stab moves. You can throw off like Pump and Dark Pulse for free. You could also run like Ice Beam and things like that to chip down certain Pokemon. It's a really good revenge killer, really okay wall breaker as well. I mean, if you run like a Specs on it, which you can some matchups, Hydro Pump's gonna hit like a fucking nuke, so that's always really nice as well. I don't know. I think Greninja facilitates Kommo-o very well. This was actually our first round pick, of course, and it was the best mon left that did the job that we needed, so it just felt like a no-brainer for me. When drafting around Kommo-o, there were like 4 things that I was looking for. We wanted something fast that could revenge kill, something that could provide like entry hazard support and chip things down into range of Kommo-o. We wanted a bulky pivot, or a slow pivot, I guess I should say more specifically, to let Kommo-o get in. And if that slow pivot could pressure fairy types out to give Kommo-o entry on non-fairy types, that was just going to be another win. And we wanted a, like, what I just like to call them the fuck you breaker. We want something that can just come in, not give a shit, and do damage. That's what we really wanted when we were drafting around this. So that was my mindset in my top 4. And to really get the bulky mon with hazard support, I went ahead and I drafted Tinglu next. Everyone knows Tinglu never fucking dies. It's a really good bulky Pokemon with Vessel of Ruin, and its outrageous stat spread here. On top of that, of course, it gets like Spikes, Stealth Rocks, Whirlwind type shit. But also, I think the coolest thing about this Pokemon on this team is its access to Ruination. So I really like Tinglu next to Pokemon like Greninja and Kommo-o that like need the chip, because Tinglu can just sit there and ruinate things down. It can take half of something's HP bar on switch, and it actually does force switches. If you bring it on a Pokemon that can't really damage it, they're going to be pressured to switch out into Pokemon that can, right? So, I mean, you can just chunk half their HP bar, which sets up for like Battle Bond Greninja shit, or Kommo-o setup, like not needing to set up multiple times for it. Same with the entry hazards. Greninja loves hazards, Kommo-o loves hazards, Tinglu loves setting hazards. So that felt really good, just like as a nice little synergy thing. Granted, the 3 Pokemon I knew I wanted right now are all weak to Fairy, so we definitely need to compensate for that later. But, I mean, Tinglu is just the greatest Pokemon ever. I mean, of course, it also does good damage. It has a respectable attack stat. Stab Earthquake's never bad. It gets, like, Throat Chop and Payback, right? It does get Payback, right? I'm not crazy about that. Where is it? Yeah, it does get Payback, which is kind of a cool move on a Pokemon that's this slow and that just likes to be an asshole, because then you just get a 100 base power Dark move, which is pretty sick. I don't know how much we'll run it compared to Throat Chop, but it's not bad. Heavy Slam for Fairies. Body Press is always nice to have on a Pokemon that's this bulky. Taunt's okay. It has a lot of tools. I mean, everyone knows what Tinglu does. I don't really need to tell you what it does. Just know that I like it with these 2 a lot, because it provides the chip that we need, and it's also just a stat monster. And I don't like to leave home without my stat monster. I want something that can just come in and not give a shit about tanking any random neutral hit, right? So I felt pretty good about this, but again, the fairy types were concerning. So I wanted to grab that slow pivot that punished fairy types, and for me, even though this was a really early pickup, I was pretty happy to grab Scizor here. Being as slow as it is with access to U-turn is really nice. Again, this Pokemon can come in and, you know, force switches, right? If you bring it in on a fairy type that's not like a Terra Captain or whatever, they're probably going to want to switch out and preserve it, especially when there's Tinglu, Greninja, and Kommo-o that they have to worry about checking and doing damage to, right? We threaten them with super effective bullet punches, and just really nice at doing that. As a result, we can click U-turn pretty freely into those Pokemon and get in one of our Pokemon that wants to set up or just do big amounts of damage and try and win the game from there. So I really like it. Also, it provides us with another win condition next to Kommo-o and Greninja with like Swords Dance, Bullet Punch, and Quick Attack. I've seen a lot of Quick Attack Scizor popping off lately, and I see why. It's for sure really nice. Also, Scizor providing a knockoff Pokemon next to 2 Dark types that don't get access to Knock felt really nice. So while I think round 3 Scizor is like comically early, I think it fit the vibe of the team really well. So I'm actually not even that mad that we took it this early. It does get like Break in case of emergency defog as well. Even though I don't like clicking defog next to Tinglu, sometimes, you know, you gotta get rid of the hazard, and Tinglu will stick around long enough to fucking set it up multiple times anyways, so what can you do, man? What can you really do? So now, the only thing I felt like we were missing was our fuck you breaker, right? We wanted something that can just do a ton of damage immediately. Because you think about it, like, Greninja, you know, you can't always do that. Sometimes you need the Scarf, you can't run the specs. Kommo-o, I mean, we already talked about it. This is weak as balls. Tinglu is, like, kind of a bulkier Pokemon. 110's not crazy. And Scizor can, but, like, again, this Pokemon's meant to, like, revenge and kill things and, like, force switches. So I went ahead and I picked up Thundurus Therian. That is not the right thing. So Thundy T is, like, known for being that guy, especially because this is our second Terra Captain. Now, will I be tearing this thing a lot? I don't know. Sometimes I really want to force Kommo-o, but there will, of course, be matchups where it's like, oh shit, Thundy T just kills the whole team. I'm just going to run Terra Thundy and just cope with that. You know, that's fine with me. I don't mind doing that. Of course, he gets like the plot agility set, which is beautiful with Terra. But like 145 special attack, just throwing off Thunderbolts plus like a Terra Blast to cover whatever their resist are to it. You know, it gets like good moves like Grass Knot, Psychic, Sludge Wave, Focus Blast, things like that that also pressure those Pokemon. Volt Switch and U-Turn, so it's also a pivot, which is really good, that forces those switches, which is something that we are trying to do with this team. We want to force switches and allow in our Pokemon that want to be positioned to kill things, right? That's kind of the vibe I'm going for, and it fits that really well. Also, another knock Pokemon. Probably not the best knockoff user, but it is pretty cute, right? It's got 105 physical attack. It's not the worst at it. And again, our knock support with our double Dark Core is ass, right? I'm gonna be honest, this was originally going to be an Iron Moth, right? I really wanted to grab Moth with this team, but Moth got taken pretty early, and that is a bummer, but I'm honestly not even mad that we got Thundy. Thundy's also, I guess, not the best ground resistance, so we definitely want to grab some guys later to help out with that. And it does bring another ice weakness to the team, but we can Terra out of it with 2 of our current ice weaknesses, so like, whatever, man. I don't really care that much. So, I don't know. I felt really confident with these 5. I think these 5 are like super sick, even though none of them are like world enders on their own. I think together, this team works together pretty well, all things considered. It's not as good as our team last time for sure. And then going into the next round, I realized I don't have a lot of tools, right? We really wanted some utility on the team, like Encore, status spreading screens, there's something else I really wanted. I don't know. Oh, extra hazard support, because Kommo-o doesn't want to always be clicking stealth rocks, and Ting-Lu sometimes can't fit rocks, so having another rock setter was nice. And I decided to go ahead and try a Pokemon I haven't tried before in Screamtail. Screamtail is pretty shit at doing damage, but it's really good as a support piece, right? I mean, of course it gets like access to Encore, Thunder Wave, the stealth rocks, the screens, of course, which is really nice. It can set up as well and do some cute shit with that, like booster speed, Calm Mind. I've used that in a couple mocks before, and it's been fun for sure. Gets weird shit like Disable as well, which is kind of cute. But the other thing is that I think Screamtail is a bad Pokemon because of how, like, mid-Wish is this generation. But we actually have one of the few Pokemon I think is good with Wish support, being Ting-Lu. So actually, Screamtail's not that bad, in my opinion, because even though you don't really want to be clicking Wish with this Pokemon because it just makes it a passive piece of shit, it's not as useless because we can actually heal up our fucking bulky monster Ting-Lu over here and actually bring that guy back online if it gets chipped down too much early. So while I don't think we'll be running a ton of Wish, the option of it is there, and it actually does have use this time. Also gets access to Trick, which is pretty cute. Roar, which I actually didn't know it got Roar, but I think that's like super fire, to be honest with you, because I just really like running phasing moves randomly on Pokemon, and having it as an option is really nice. It does get another really funny set that I thought of when I was drafting is a like throat spray fake tears set to like somehow make this Pokemon able to force Pokemon out. I don't think I'll ever bring this seriously, but it's very funny. The fact that it exists, I think it's a cute option. It does also fill our base 110 speed tier, which is nice. The only problem I have with that is that since Screamtail is not really ever going to be able to revenge things, it might not be as useful in that speed tier as some other Pokemon, but at the same time we've got like Scizor priority, Greninja can like revenge pretty easily, Thundy also likes to run Scarf a good bit, so like I'm kind of taking the good with the bad here, you know? I'm like, okay, yes, this Pokemon sucks at revenging, but we have so many other options that like it can do the job like in games where it's needed, but it's not always going to be needed, and I'm cool with that. So I should have just made a box, to be honest, so I could have just done this all at once, but I kind of am really dumb, so we're gonna do that now instead of restarting the recording because I have to go to work in a few minutes. So going into the next round, I really wanted to get some removal. I knew how I wanted to finish the team. I wanted to get some removal. A ghost type next to Ting-Lu is always very appreciated. We needed another fairy resist because right now it's just Scizor, and that guy doesn't want to tank the hits. And while Screamtail can tank those neutral fairy hits, we definitely wanted a strong resistance. I want another flying resist because I don't really like Thundy as a solo flying resist. Our fire weakness was not bad, but also Greninja as our solo water type can sometimes be shit at it. So I wanted to try and fill those roles as best possible. Oh, and ground as well. We wanted to get something to help out those ground types really well because right now it's just Thundy and Earthquake or like Lando EP is scaring the piss out of me. I will say, I think this is where our draft kind of falls apart because we went real into the low tiers for this. And while I think our structure might save us, let's go ahead and talk about why we drafted Brambleghast and why I think it's a useless piece of shit. So, one of my friends, Claus, is a Brambleghast supporter. He thinks it's like the best Pokemon ever, and I just don't see it right now, man. I mean, access to like Poltergeist, Power Whip, and Rabbit Spin is always really nice to have. You know, I mean, 115 attack is not shit. That's pretty good. It does good damage for sure with its high-based power moves. It gets access to Strength Sap as well, which is really cute for shutting down physical attackers. It can actually 1v1 certain Pokemon. Its bulk is really mediocre, though, which is kind of bumming me out, man. I don't like how it lacks bulk, but at the same time, it gets more priority with Shadow Sneak. Can't go wrong with more priority. Excuse me. It gets extra hazard support. Does it get Leech Seed? It does get Leech Seed. That's pretty cool. To like chip down certain Pokemon could be pretty cool. Pain Split's nice as well. Nightshade is pretty ass on a Pokemon that's meant to do damage. I mean, it's a pretty frail Pokemon, but Wind Rider's cute. It makes it immune to like hurricanes and things like that. So while it is another flying weakness to the team, it can like fuck with some Pokemon like Zapdos specifically because Zapdos just can't hit it with a like Drill Peck or Brave Bird or like I guess Acro if it's running some weird like citrus set. So I mean that's a cute thing that it has going for it, but again, I mean Brambleghast's stats are just so underwhelming. Like I don't know how this thing is gonna particularly like check Wellspring, for example, right? Which is kind of what you draft a Grass for, but again, it does provide a lot of roles for our team that I'm not upset with inherently. So what can you do, man? So yeah, I mean, we drafted Brambleghast. It's removal. We needed some form of removal. We only have Scizor Defog, which I already described as break in case of emergency, and this is also kind of cope, but like, I've seen Bramble do good things, so I'm not like upset with it. And then again, I wanted to grab an extra Fairy Resist, and I feel like Muck is one of the best low tiers at doing the job for that. It's very bulky. It fucks with Iron Valiant crazy. Other Fairy types as well, so like if we have a really shit Fairy matchup, Muck might be making an appearance. It provides extra knockoff, which is always really nice. Gunk Shot for damage, Poison Jab, and Poison Fang. If we want to run like a Poison Touch set, we can force status with that. It doesn't get Poison Fang, right? Oh, it doesn't. Okay, well, it's just Jab. Got it. It gets crazy coverage. I know this Pokemon's really good. I've used this Pokemon to great success before. I actually picked it up in 88 goals in like week 5, I believe, as a transaction. And I believe I brought it to literally every other game I played that season, and it provided some service in every single one. Priority with Snake, Pain Split as well to keep itself healthy, stab moves, Toxic is always nice to have, it's a good tool. Curse sets are pretty real in this Pokemon as well, I've learned. Like Curse with Drain Punch can be really funny. I once ran like, I think it was Curse, Drain Punch, Weakness Policy with like Sneak and Jab, and it like swept the team. It was super fire, it was so funny. So it can do cute shit like that as well. I don't know, this Pokemon's just good. I mean, everyone knows Muck is like one of the better low tier poison types, and we drafted it for that reason. Next, I picked up Lantern, that is right. This is a Pokemon I've had decent success with. I wanted to get a Flying Resist, an extra Ice Resist, and a Fire Resist, and this Pokemon provided all of it for 3 points. It's not the bulkiest thing ever, but it's not like frail by any means. That high HP stat means that you can kind of just like hit some shit like this, and it's quite bulky. It gets access to Scald, which is pretty cool. This is one of our only ways to burn things on our team. In fact, it might actually be our only way to do it, which is not great, but it can do that, which is cool. Double pivot moves between Flip Turn and Volt Switch. It's Flying Resist, of course. It gets stab moves. This Pokemon's not that good. It's 3 points, man, but it's a damn good 3-pointer, I won't lie to you. I did once run, I think it was a Charge Beam. Oh, not Charge. A Charge Beam Agility set, because funnily enough, some teams actually don't switch into the stab combo well when paired with Ice Beam. So it can kind of force progress, like really shit progress, but again, if the goal of this team is to chip things into range of one of our 3 to 4 win conditions, sometimes that might be useful, you know? So I'm not mad at it. I like what it provides to the team defensively, in a pinch if it's absolutely needed. I just like having the tools, and I mean, it can do some cool shit, right? It's Lantern, man. What else do you expect from it? It gets 2 immunity abilities as well. So, like, defensively, it actually brings a lot of weird niches to our team for 3 points, so I fuck with him. He's just a little guy, man. I can rock with some Lantern in my life. And then lastly, I was looking at my team. I think the 2 biggest problems were, like, revenge killing, like I was getting at, and our lack of real strong ground resists, right? It's just Bramblegast and Thundy, and neither of those are good at taking ground-type attacks. And then Revenging looked slightly annoying just based off of our speed tiers and the type of Pokemon we have in those speed tiers, you know, like I was talking about Screamtail. But at the same time, we have priority with Bramble, priority with Mug, priority with Scizor, Greninja gets Water Shuriken, Kommo-o gets Vacuum Wave. I felt like the bigger problem was for sure going to be our ground weakness. And I was looking, I had 7 points left, and I was looking for like anything that fit, and the only Pokemon that came close was actually Braviary. And I don't know how I feel about this Pokemon, to be honest with you. It was kind of a last second choice that I made at like 1 a.m. But I mean, Sheer Force Body Slam is at least a good way to force some progress into teams that don't have great normal resist. If it's just their fighting types, you know, we can Body Slam them. I mean, not their fighting, but their steel types, we can Body Slam into close combat and try and force past them like that. And if we do kill a steel type, well then Scizor's Bullet Punch in-game becomes a little bit better. Screamtail could do offensive things a little bit better, which sounds stupid as shit to say, but it is true. So I actually don't mind that too much. And also, ghost types into our team are pretty mediocre because Bulletproof blocks Shadow Ball, which is like the main way that ghost types force progress unless they run like Willow Hex. But we also have a Tinglu, a Greninja, a Muck, a Bramblegast, and a Braviary that all really pressure those ghost types. So sometimes Braviary could be nice to just expand Body Slam in matchups. It is an effective Choice Scarf user, but it's probably also just an okay Pokemon at running Boots Defog. While I don't think I will be doing that too much because, again, I don't love Defog next to Tinglu, the options are nice, and that is what this team is kind of drafted around, is the idea that we just need to fit as many options as possible, even if they're shit Pokemon, because my entire team is already shit. There's no fixing it with a low tier, so, I mean, Braviary is just kind of here to fill in the gaps. U-turn's always nice. You can do like a Choice Scarf U-turn set, help us pivot around, get in our good Pokemon. Brave Bird's nice, does a shit ton of damage. Flying Stab is always going to be good. Off a 123 base attack stat, honestly pretty respectable. Honestly very respectable. This shit hits hard as balls with Sheer Force. It gets Defiant as well, which is pretty cute. So like into Corviknight team, if that's their only form of removal, we can send in Braviary, get that boost, and then try and like close combat past the Corviknight or force progress on other Pokemon if it has to switch out. So that's the team. I do think this team is like significantly worse than our team last time, and that's fine with me. I think this team is going to be fun, and I kind of fuck with the structure of it. Again, the Kommo-o was the only thing that I really cared about, and that was the whole goal when drafting, was to make Kommo-o not look like the biggest piece of shit in the world. And I think I did an okay job at that. Greninja's great, Tinglu's great, Scizor's great, Thundy's great, Screamtail's okay, and then we just have these 4 guys to fill in the gaps on our team, even though they're kind of ass as well. The goal this season is to make playoffs. I know I almost won last time, shouldn't I try and get the run back, but like, you know, I'm just here to have fun this season, man. You know, I don't know. I hope you guys watch this season, though. It should be funny. We're going to be smoking that Kommo-o pack. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about my team. If it fucking sucks, tell me. I won't hurt my feelings. I know it's ass, dude. I get it. But it's going to be fun. We'll be back probably next week at some point for week 1. I don't know who I play yet. I'm recording this the second I finish my team because this was like the only time that I'll have for the next 4 days to actually sit down and record this. And now I have to go into work. Okay, guys. Bye. Bye-bye. Toodaloo. Bye-bye.